So I'm going to go through how to take this phone stand that I designed and transfer the file over to vcarve so that we can actually make it cut. First thing I have to do, right, is find the sketches. Right now I'm in the assembly. I have different parts here, Part Studio 1 and Part Studio 2. You could have drawn these all in Part Studio. Here's my sketch. I'm going to right-click on that sketch. I'm going to export that. Make sure this is a DXF. I name it. This is phone side broadscape, and I will download that. Next, I'll go to my other part, and I will export that sketch as back. Make sure that's a DXF, and I will export that. So now I have those two sketches that I've exported, and it's time to put them into vcarve. vcarve is this program here. And I'm going to create a new file, and this is where we put in the size piece of wood we're working with. The maximum size, which you should use here, 24 by 18, and then the thickness that you choose for your particular piece of flat pack furniture or flat pack object. Mine is going to be 0.22. The Z0 position is going to be the material surface. The XY datum position is going to be the lower left. This should be standard, and there we go. That's the basic piece of wood that we are going to be using. Now I'm going to import my sketches with this button here. First, I'll put in the back. Going to give an error, but I'm going to just say, don't worry about it, and pop that in. Now it's in the wrong place. It's not on my wood, so I'll just double click on the dotted lines, any one of those dotted lines, and drag it into the somewhere, right, where I can use it. Next, I'm going to import the next thing, which will be my phone stand side. Again, the error, again, I'll say OK. Double click on it and drag it over here where I can keep it out of the way of that one. Now, I need two of these. So I could import it again, or I could double click on this. Right click on this. I could copy, and then I could paste. Now it pasted right on top of the other one, so I have to grab it and drag it off to the side. All right, so now I have my three pieces that I'm going to use to make my phone stand. Now, right now, they came in as separate lines because that's how Onshape drew them. What we need to do is clean this up and connect them. So this, we don't need a separate line here. So I'm going to use the scissor tool, trim tool, and I'm going to trim this line away. Trim that line away. There were two lines, I had to trim them both. 1, 2. All right, and when it did that, it did this great thing where it actually connected those pieces to here, which is really useful. We still have to connect everything together. Scissor tool again, because I have to get rid of this little line and this little line. Anything that's not getting cut by this machine has to disappear. All right, now I'm going to connect them all together. So as I noted, they're all separate lines, right? What I have to do is select everything. So I could do that with a big box. I could also do that with a Control A. And I'm going to use the join vectors. And initially there are 47 vectors. Once it closes them, there'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 vectors. The vector being a continuous line. And now they are all closed, so I can't try anything anymore. Now if I click on them, you see it's like one big piece. One big piece, one big piece. One hole and another hole. Very good. Now it is time to start thinking about cutting these. So I'll click here to get over to my Toolpaths tab. The first toolpath I'm going to cut is this one right here. I'm going to cut out that slot. So I'll use a pocket tool for that. And I'm going to cut 0.27, which is deeper than my material of 0.22, which is correct. That way I'll cut right through it. And I'm going to use a 1/4 upcut wood. That's a perfect bit. I'm not sure. I can select right there. Don't change any of these settings unless I tell you to. Ramp on the plunge down is usually a good idea. Probably not necessary here, but I'm just going to leave it alone. Now I have to choose what I'm going to do. So I'm going to click on this. I want to click that one too. In order to select them both, I will hold down the Shift key while I click the second one. And I will name this toolpath slots. Okay, so here it gave me an error. Let me try that again. The error is saying the tool can't fit into the selected vectors at the machining depth. I'm trying to cut a slot that's 1/8 of an inch or 0.22 across, and I've got a tool that is 1/4 inch wide. So instead, I'm going to actually select the 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch upcut wood. And now I'm going to calculate. It's going to say, "You sure?" I'll say, "Yeah, man, no problem." So now I can preview these selected toolpaths. There we go. That's perfect. I will head back to my 2D view. And now it's time to create a toolpath for the outside. So I'll close my preview, select my 2D profile toolpath. The profile toolpath cuts the outside. The pocket cuts the inside. I will shift select all of my outside parts. And I will, man, I had the wrong tool there, I think. Yeah, that's the wrong one. I want the 1/8 upcut wood. Now the problem is, I guess I can just leave it in the 1/8. I could switch over to the 1/4, but it's not that big a deal. We don't need advanced options. We are going to cut on the outside. We will ramp our plunge moves 1 inch. We are going to need tabs. The reason we need tabs is that otherwise, as the machine cuts out the piece, it'll start moving around. It will destroy the piece, and it may crack the bit. So we're going to add some tabs. 3 tabs is good for wood. Press add tabs, they'll pop in. If you want, if they're in a bad place, you can move them here and resize them, but I think they're fine where they are. All right, I'll close that. And this one will be the outside cut. Calculate that. And I'll preview them all again. Uh-oh, it didn't cut all the way through. Let's check what I forgot. Outside. It's an outside cut. And I only cut it 0.13 deep. I need it 0.27. And I will now calculate. Oh my gosh, do you really want to go all the way through? Absolutely. I can reset my preview, and I can preview all the toolpaths. And there we go. It's cut all the way through. It's left these tabs to hold stuff in place. Now, the only thing I would like to do here is save some material. Otherwise, we're ready to cut. Well, almost. Two things we have to do. First thing, save some material. So if we go back to the 2D view, I can select these, and I can try to nest. Tool diameter is 125, and the clearance is 5. And the border gap on the outside is 1 inch. That didn't really help. So we can move this around by hand. And if we just select it, double click, we can drag, and I could do something like that. And then something like that. That saves a little material. right? Not a big deal, but you could, and then I could mess around with this further, and I probably will before I cut it. Okay, good. Let's see, I could rotate. Yeah, there we go. That's a good idea. And then I can drag this over here. And then I can drag this over here. All right. And now something strange happened, because when I go back to my 3D view, I go back to preview my toolpaths, I could preview all the toolpaths. It didn't change. That's because I didn't reset the preview and I didn't recalculate the toolpaths. So because my toolpaths moved, I now have to recalculate them. It shows me the new place. And now when I preview, I can preview all my toolpaths, and here they are in their new place. Beautiful. Now the only thing remaining is a problem we have with mortises. You notice how the edges of this are round. The edges of that are going to be square. Right? We won't have that rounded edge here. That'll be a square edge. This right there will be a square edge, and this will be a round edge. So that will be a problem. And there is a solution, luckily, and a fairly easy one. We have to add some what are called dog bones. So dog bone fillets. So we'll go add a fillet. We can add a dog bone. You can also use T-bones. I prefer dog bones. My tool radius, that's half of my tool diameter. So my tool diameter is 0.125. The tool radius is 0.06. Now this might be different for you. And the dog bone is going to happen on each of these corners. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it's also going to happen on the interior corners here, and here, and here, and here. All right, and now I can check, I can preview, right? I'll reset my preview, preview all my toolpaths. I don't see a dog bone. Oh, what I forgot to do is recalculate the toolpaths. Yes, it's okay, they cut through. They've all been recalculated. Back to preview, preview all the toolpaths. There are my dog bones right there. Perfect. All right, we are almost ready to be done with this guy, but what we have to do now is not waste quite so much material. So I'm going to go back to the drawing tab and into the job setup, and I'm going to end this at about 11 inches high and about 12 inches wide. So that's 12 inches X, and that's 11 inches Y. So now I know that the basic shape and size of the piece I'm going to use, and I'm not going to waste excess. It's going to recalculate all my toolpaths, head over here, and it's time to save all my toolpaths. So to save all my toolpaths, I click on this guy right here. Save. Well, let me hit my preview and make sure everything works great. Oh my gosh, look at that. It's amazing. Can't wait to use it.